What if I told you that everything you've been taught about personal transformation is fundamentally backward? That the very act of trying harder to break your old patterns is actually the invisible force keeping you trapped in them? This might be the most important message you'll hear this year, especially if you've been struggling to create lasting change in your life despite your best efforts. Most of us have been conditioned to believe that transformation requires immense willpower, discipline, and constant striving. We've been told that if we just push harder, wake up earlier, use more discipline, and force ourselves to be better, we'll eventually break through. And when we inevitably fall back into old patterns, we blame ourselves for not having enough determination or commitment. But what if this entire approach is based on a profound misunderstanding of how change actually works? What if your struggle isn't evidence of personal failure, but of using the wrong paradigm altogether? Take a deep breath with me now. Let the weight of effort and striving soften for just a moment. The truth is, quantum physics has revealed something extraordinary about the nature of reality that completely transforms our understanding of personal change. And this revelation, this quantum secret, explains why trying harder often keeps you stuck in the very cycles you're trying to break. The quantum field doesn't respond to effort or willpower. It responds to coherence, to the alignment between your conscious intentions and your subconscious programming. And when these two aspects of your being are in conflict, no amount of conscious effort can override the powerful electromagnetic field generated by your subconscious patterns. This is why you can desperately want to change, can commit to new habits with sincere determination, and still find yourself mysteriously pulled back into the same old cycles. It's not because you're weak or flawed. It's because you're using force in a reality that operates on resonance. Today we're going to explore the quantum paradox of change, how trying less can actually free you more. We'll uncover the hidden trap of willpower, reveal the vibrational secret that science and spirituality have kept hidden about instant transformation, and discover why quantum lightness is the fastest path to manifesting your deepest desires. This isn't just another self-help technique. This is a fundamental shift in how you approach change itself, one that aligns with the deepest truths of quantum reality and liberates you from the exhausting cycle of effort and relapse. Let's begin by understanding the quantum paradox of change. At the most fundamental level, quantum physics has shown us that reality is not the solid, fixed thing it appears to be. It's a dynamic field of energy and information, constantly responding to consciousness itself. When you try to force change through sheer willpower, you're operating from a Newtonian paradigm, treating yourself like a machine that just needs more fuel or better programming. But you're not a machine. You're a quantum field of consciousness, entangled with infinite possibilities. The invisible error that keeps most people stuck is the unconscious belief that more effort equals more results. This creates a vibrational resistance that actually reinforces the very patterns you're trying to break. The harder you push against something, the more you energetically reinforce its existence in your reality. Think about it. When you're constantly fighting against an unwanted habit or pattern, you're placing your attention on what you don't want. And in the quantum field, attention is a form of energy that strengthens whatever it focuses on. Your struggle against the unwanted pattern actually feeds it, creating a self-perpetuating cycle of effort and frustration. The counterintuitive revelation is that the law of attraction isn't about struggling or forcing. It's about allowing. The true secret isn't in the power of your will, but in your surrender to a quantum flow that's already operating in coherence with your deepest desires. This requires a profound perceptual shift, from seeing change as something you must force through effort to recognizing it as a natural expression of aligned energy. When you're in vibrational alignment with the reality you desire to experience, transformation doesn't require struggle. It becomes the path of least resistance. Imagine your consciousness as a river. The more you row against the current, the more energy you expend and the less progress you make. The secret is learning to flow with the river's intelligence, trusting that it will carry you to your destination with greater ease and grace than your struggling ever could. This doesn't mean becoming passive. It means becoming intelligently receptive, aligning your energy with the outcome you desire, and allowing the quantum field to organize the path of least resistance to its manifestation. Now let's explore the trap of willpower and how it perpetuates the very cycles you're trying to break. Many of us have been taught to revere willpower as the ultimate force for personal change. We believe that if we just exert enough mental control, We can override any pattern or habit that doesn't serve us. But this approach ignores a fundamental truth about human consciousness. The subconscious mind is vastly more powerful than the conscious mind. Your subconscious contains the deep programming that shapes your perceptions, emotions, and behaviors at a level beneath conscious awareness. And this programming creates electromagnetic patterns in your body and energy field that the quantum field responds to, regardless of what your conscious mind is trying to do. The neuro-emotional trigger that keeps this cycle going is the relentless pursuit of control, driven by fear of the future and anxiety about not doing enough. This creates a dissonance between what your conscious mind desires and what your subconscious is actually vibrating. What we call willpower is often a manifestation of the ego, attempting to impose a reality without first aligning the energetic frequency. It ignores the wisdom of the quantum field, which responds to coherence, not coercion. Think of your excessive willpower like a plant that you're trying to pull upward by its leaves. You might stretch it for a while, but the root, your subconscious pattern, remains in the same place, preventing genuine growth. True transformation doesn't come from battle, but from reprogramming at the vibrational level. Neuroscience confirms this approach. Your brain adapts better to lightness and conscious repetition than to forced imposition. When you release the struggle and align with a new frequency through gentle, consistent exposure, neural pathways reorganize themselves with far less resistance. This brings us to the vibrational secret that both science and spirituality have hidden about instantaneous transformation. Many of us feel impatient with the manifestation process, wondering if our desires will ever arrive, exhausted from waiting for something that feels distant. There's a natural curiosity about whether a shortcut exists, not from laziness, but from a profound desire for liberation. We hope for a key that will unlock everything at once. The hidden concept is that instantaneous transformation is not magical. It's the synchronization of your vibrational frequency with the reality you desire. Quantum physics reveals that the collapse of the wave function, manifestation, happens at the moment of perfect alignment. The initiatory revelation is that instantaneousness resides in your ability to change your perception and state of being in the now. It's the transition from being in lack to being in abundance in real time, activating a new field of possibilities. Think about tuning a radio station. You don't force the music to appear, you simply adjust the frequency. When the tuning is perfect, the music, your manifestation, emerges instantaneously. This is how quantum change works. It's not about the time it takes to create something new. It's about the moment your frequency shifts into perfect alignment with what already exists as potential. This understanding completely transforms how we approach the experience of failure in our manifestation efforts. The hidden pain here is the weight of guilt and self-criticism after a failed attempt to manifest. There's a feeling of not being good enough or being fundamentally wrong, creating an energetic blockage that impedes flow. But what we call failure is actually vibrational feedback. It reveals where your energy is still misaligned or where limiting beliefs are still operating in the subconscious. It's a map, not a judgment. Each non-result is an opportunity to refine your intention, deepen your self-knowledge, and release attachment to how things should unfold. It forces you to look inward and recalibrate your internal compass. A failure is not a period at the end of your journey, but a comma. It's like a scientist in a laboratory. Each experiment that doesn't achieve the expected result isn't a failure, but a discovery of a path that doesn't work, bringing you closer to what does work. This perspective naturally leads us to the power of quantum surrender, releasing control to access the flow of synchronicity. Many of us feel anxious about controlling every detail of the manifestation process, exhausted from trying to manage the universe and struggling to trust divine timing. The mind can't rest, always searching for external solutions. The neuro-emotional trigger is the urgency to control the future, driven by insecurity and lack of faith in a greater power. This creates a stress circuit that blocks intuition and connection to the unified field. But quantum surrender isn't giving up. It's an act of faith and energetic intelligence. It's handing over the how to the quantum field, allowing universal intelligence to orchestrate the most aligned paths for you. When you surrender, you release resistance and align with life's natural flow. This not only calms the mind, but activates synchronicities and opportunities you could never have planned. Imagine releasing a boat into a flowing river. If you try to control it forcefully, you might run aground. But if you surrender to the current and guide gently, the river will carry you along more fluid and unexpected paths to the ocean. This surrender is intimately connected to the neuroscience of intentional detachment, how the brain reprograms itself when you stop struggling. Many of us find it difficult to let go of a desire after visualizing it. The obsessive mind revisits the lack, creating the sensation that if we don't think about it constantly, it won't manifest. This generates a loop of anxiety and attachment. The neuroscientific concept is that intentional detachment is a neurological deconditioning process. When you stop struggling and detach from the outcome, you release stress patterns in the brain and activate the brain waves associated with creation and calm, alpha and theta waves. The applicable technique is to plant the seed of your intention in the subconscious and then redirect your attention to the present, trusting that the quantum field and your brain are working for you behind the scenes. Your brain is like a garden. If you plant a seed and dig it up every day to see if it's growing, you kill it. But if you plant it, water it with your intention, and then trust nature's process, it will sprout. Detachment is allowing your brain's nature to do the work. This brings us to the fallacy of effort, why quantum lightness is the fastest path to manifesting your desires. Many of us hold the deeply rooted belief that everything in life requires effort, sacrifice, and suffering. We resist accepting that manifestation can be easy, feeling guilty when we experience joy or lightness. Society has taught us no pain, no gain. But quantum physics and spiritual wisdom reveal that energy flows more freely in the resonance of joy, gratitude, and lightness, accelerating the co-creation process. The liberating revelation is that this isn't about laziness, but energetic intelligence. Quantum lightness is the art of aligning your frequency with the universe's, where manifestation occurs with minimum resistance and maximum flow. Think of a hot air balloon. It doesn't struggle to rise. It fills with lightness and naturally elevates. Similarly, when you fill yourself with vibrational lightness, your manifestations rise and come to you without apparent effort. So how do we integrate these insights into a practical approach for breaking old cycles instantly? Let me offer a framework that brings together these quantum principles in a way that you can apply immediately in your life. First, recognize the paradox of transformation. The harder you try to change through force, the more you energetically reinforce what you're trying to change. This awareness alone can begin to dissolve the pattern of struggle that has kept you stuck. Next, shift your focus from doing to being. Instead of asking, "What actions do I need to take to change this pattern?" ask, "Who would I be if this pattern were already transformed?" This subtle but profound shift moves you from the Newtonian paradigm of cause and effect to the quantum paradigm of resonance and alignment. Now practice what we might call coherent embodiment, the art of tuning your entire being to the frequency of your desired reality. This isn't about visualizing what you want or affirming it verbally. It's about feeling it as your present reality at the level of your nervous system and energetic field. Close your eyes and imagine what it would feel like if the cycle you're trying to break were already transformed. How would your body feel? How would you breathe? What emotions would naturally arise? Allow yourself to fully experience this state, not as a future possibility, but as your current reality. As you embody this state, notice any resistance that arises, any contraction, discomfort, or doubt. These sensations reveal where your subconscious programming is misaligned with your conscious intention. Rather than fighting this resistance, simply observe it with compassion and curiosity. Place one hand on your heart and acknowledge, "I see this resistance. I honor the part of me that's trying to protect me through this old pattern. And I gently release the need for this protection now, knowing that I'm safe to transform." This compassionate acknowledgement begins to dissolve the energetic charge of the resistance, creating space for new patterns to emerge naturally. Next, practice what quantum physicists call mental vacuum, the art of creating space in your consciousness where new patterns can emerge. Rather than constantly focusing on what you want to change or create, allow yourself periods of mental stillness and receptivity. In these moments of quiet receptivity, your brain naturally reorganizes itself according to the new frequency you've been embodying. Without the interference of conscious striving, your nervous system can integrate the new pattern with far less resistance. Another powerful practice is what I call quantum recontextualization, the art of interpreting apparent setbacks as evidence of transformation rather than failure. When you notice yourself falling back into an old pattern, rather than judging yourself or redoubling your efforts, simply observe, my system is showing me where there's still misalignment. This awareness is part of my transformation. This shift in perception immediately changes your vibrational relationship with the pattern, removing the energetic charge that would otherwise reinforce it. What you resist persists. What you embrace with awareness transforms. Perhaps the most powerful practice of all is surrendered action, the paradoxical art of taking inspired action without attachment to outcomes. This isn't passive resignation, but dynamic trust in the intelligence of the quantum field. When you feel moved to take action toward your desired reality, do so from a state of aligned presence rather than anxious striving. Trust that each action is part of a larger pattern orchestrated by the field itself, even when you can't see the entire picture. Remember, quantum change doesn't always follow a linear path. Sometimes what appears to be a setback is actually a quantum leap in disguise, a necessary reorganization of energy that precedes a major breakthrough. Trust the process, even when it doesn't match your expectations of how change should look. As you integrate these practices, you'll begin to experience what quantum physicists call phase transitions, moments when a system suddenly reorganizes itself into a new pattern after a period of apparent chaos or stagnation. These phase transitions often feel instantaneous, as if years of subtle shifting suddenly crystallize into a new reality all at once. This is the true meaning of breaking cycles instantly. Not that you bypass the process of transformation, but that you align with it so completely that when the tipping point arrives, the shift feels effortless and immediate. Let me share a personal story that illustrates this principle. Sarah had struggled with financial scarcity for years, constantly working harder and pushing herself to break through her income ceiling. Despite countless courses, affirmations, and visualization practices, she remained stuck in the same financial pattern. During a profound meditation, she realized she'd been approaching her financial transformation from a place of struggle and lack. She was trying to force abundance while vibrationally resonating with scarcity. The harder she pushed, the more she reinforced the very frequency she was trying to escape. In that moment, she made a radical decision to stop struggling. Instead of continuing to try harder, she allowed herself to embody the frequency of abundance, not as a future goal, but as her present reality. She noticed how her body felt when she imagined financial ease, and she began to carry that feeling state throughout her day. When old patterns of financial anxiety arose, she didn't fight them. She simply observed them with compassion, recognizing them as echoes of old programming rather than her current truth. She surrendered the how of her financial transformation to the intelligence of the quantum field, while remaining aligned with the essence of abundance. Within weeks, unexpected opportunities began to appear in her life. Collaborations, clients, and income streams she couldn't have planned or forced into existence through effort alone. What had felt like an endless struggle suddenly resolved itself with an ease that seemed magical, but was simply the natural expression of her vibrational shift. This is the quantum secret to breaking old cycles. Not more effort, but more alignment. Not pushing harder, but surrendering more completely. Not fighting against what is, but embodying what could be with such conviction that it becomes your energetic reality before any external evidence appears. As we bring these insights to a close, I invite you to experiment with this approach in your own life. Choose one pattern or cycle you've been struggling to change, and instead of applying more willpower or effort, try these quantum principles. Embody the frequency of the transformed pattern as your present reality. Observe resistance with compassion rather than fighting against it. Create mental space through periods of receptive stillness. Recontextualize setbacks as feedback rather than failure. Take inspired action without attachment to outcomes. Trust the intelligence of the process, even when it doesn't match your expectations. Remember, the quantum field doesn't respond to how hard you try. It responds to how aligned you are. And alignment comes not from forcing, but from allowing yourself to be the frequency of what you desire. Take a deep breath now and feel the lightness that comes with releasing the burden of effort. Feel the spaciousness that opens up when you stop struggling against what is and start embodying what could be. I invite you to join our community of conscious creators by subscribing to this channel. Your presence here isn't accidental. It's part of your own quantum shift into a new way of being and creating. In the comments below, share one old cycle you're ready to release through quantum alignment rather than effort. This declaration sets a powerful intention in the field and connects you with others on the same journey. Thank you for your presence, your attention, and your willingness to embrace this paradigm shift. Until next time, remember, transformation doesn't require trying harder. It requires tuning deeper into the quantum reality where change happens not through force, but through resonance.